We've been expecting you. Throughout history, every culture has had beliefs, or at least tales of the supernatural. But are they real? Are they?
I don't know.
William Draven thinks so. He has spent his entire life investigating and collecting the paranormal. Before you are some of the most haunted artifacts he has amassed. Prepare yourself, because tonight we are going to take a journey on the paranormal simulation, myth, legends of the Artisan. So if at any time you feel scared, or queasy, just remember, it's all an illusion, right? Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the world-renowned, critically acclaimed paranormal specialist, William Draven.
Have you ever walked into a building before and felt the hair on the back of your neck stand up on end? Have you ever met somebody for the first time and within moments knew whether they were somebody that you wanted to know or somebody you wanted to avoid? Perhaps some of you felt one of those sensations when you walked into the Artisan this evening. This place, the building and the property it's been built on, has known many a curious accident over the years. One of the most famous took place in 1980 when a car came careening off the street into the lobby, crashed through the doors, and wound up roughly where we're sitting right now. This took the lives of 2 individuals. Their spirits are known to haunt here, even to this day. I'm sure you never met them. I'm sure you have no idea who they are. But I'll tell you one thing. This music box was her favorite possession. According to legend, she preferred to play this music box on the evenings that she felt anxious or nervous, perhaps depressed. Wonder if she played the music box on that night. Further still, I wonder if the music box will still play for us. Yes, there is energy here after all. That's what we're going to explore tonight, the energy that's here. I wonder if we can make contact with some of it. Now, I do feel that they are present, they being the young couple that died here. I want to see if we can make contact. In the early 1900s, one method that mediums would have used was called automatic writing. This is where the mediums would place themselves into a trance, allow themselves to hold a piece of chalk or a piece of lead. And they let their arms swing back and forth over a piece of paper until they were satisfied the message was delivered. Admittedly, most of the time this looked like scribbles. Every now and again, letters or words would form. I want to try that this evening. I need a volunteer, somebody willing to help us. Oh, I love how you're nudging her. What's your name, sweetheart? Hey. Hey, please help me. Thank you very much. Come around here, watch your step, my dear, as you ascend the stage. May I have a piece of paper for you? And May, this is a permanent marker as well. You'll be using this experiment. And this is a very personal thing. So we'll be using this portfolio as a shield to keep this writing private until we are ready to reveal it. If you would hold this in the ready position, go ahead and place that over the paper, but don't do anything just yet. Because I want to do something else. You, sir, what is your name?
Jared.
Nice to meet you. Pleasure. Jared, I have a pendulum right here. It's a simple pendulum. What I'd like you to do is hold on to that at the top by the ball and allow it to stand still. Now, in a perfect world, it will remain stationary. If there is energy present, the pendulum might begin to sway or move. It might begin to become more chaotic with its movements the stronger the energy is. I want you to allow the pendulum to do exactly what it wants to do. And while we are experimenting with this automatic writing, I want you to focus and meditate on one question. Who are you? Come back for that answer. May, do me a favor if you would. Allow your eyes to close and take a nice deep breath in at the diaphragm all the way in. Let the air fill your lungs. And as you exhale, allow all the stress in your life to flood out. Keep your eyes closed. Take another deep breath in at the diaphragm. And as you exhale, let all stress leave your body. One last time, the diaphragm all the way in. And as you exhale, allow all distractions, present, past, or future, flood from your mind. Allow yourself to be a perfect vessel, willing to receive whatever might come to you. Now, we do know there are present of spirits here tonight, evidenced by the music box and the picture moving by themselves. Rumor has it might be the ghostly lovers that died in a car crash. But allow yourself to open up to the possibility that one of them wants to make contact with you. And as you do, allow your hand to begin to sweep over that page. Allow the marker to write on that page. I will go ahead and hold that down the table so the paper does not move. And as you feel the energy sweep down your arm, allow that pen to move across the paper. Allow the energy to dictate to you what it wants to say. If the energy is chaotic or energetic, allow your motions to make sweeping large paths across the paper. Fill the entire paper, corner to corner and side to side. If the energy so dictates, it becomes precise. Still, allow your pen strokes to narrow down. The important thing to do, though, is just allow the energy to dictate what it wants to say. Remove yourself from this. Just be a spectator as much as I am. And as quickly as the energy begins to rush down your arm and onto the paper, so too will it begin to recede. And as it begins to lessen, allow the pen to rise up off the paper, but keep your eyes closed. Of course, that makes perfect sense. I'm going to go ahead and fold this up. You may open your eyes at this time and recap that pen if you wish. We're going to put this automatic writing into an envelope, and I have another piece of paper in here already. We'll discuss more about that in detail later on this evening, but for now, would you hold that for me? Over here is a cabinet designed to hold an envelope. There are Velcro strips on the back of that. If you would, please put the Velcro against the back of the box so that we may see the envelope at all times. Would you be my key master? Thank you. Keep a hold of that for the remainder of the show. Audience, I will invite you to keep an eye on this box we made of the show. You may have a seat. Watch yourself as you come down. Keep a hold of that key for me, please, Mr. Stark. Thank you. Jarrett, you've been holding on to that pendulum. Oh, it is swinging. Look at that. That's interesting. Now, you've been concentrating this entire time on one question. That question was, who are you? At this point in time, Jarrett, is there any voice inside your head that spoke to you? Is there an identity that is forming perhaps in your subconsciousness? A name?
Yeah.
What is that name?
The name?
Yes.
The name is Raja.
Raja.
Yes.
Is this a name that you are familiar with?
Very much so.
Very much so, okay. I'm getting the impression that the spirits that are here tonight are older, and perhaps, maybe not spirits that you might know. Open yourself up to the possibility that there is something tickling at the back of your subconsciousness. A name that doesn't belong there, but still is present. What name speaks to you?
Jane.
Jane. Jane.
Uh-huh.
Female, yes?
Yeah.
And as you meditate on the name Jane, how old would you say she presents herself to be?
I would say she's in her 40s.
In her 40s.
Yeah.
Is she a young 40s or old
No,
40s?
she's a young 40s.
She's a young 40s,
Yeah.
so 41, 42,
41.
41.
Yeah.
Jane, 41.
Yeah.
Excellent. I have no idea who this Jane or this 41 is, but I do know that there are two spirits here that did die in that car accident. A male and a female. You, sir, in the front row. Which of these two speak to you, the male or the female?
The male,
The male. What is his name?
John.
John. John, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Now, there's a female present as well. She died in this very room. What is the female's name?
Mercedes.
Mercedes. That's the name of the female, not the vehicle they were driving, correct?
Yes.
How do you spell that? M-E-R-C-E-D-E-S.
I have no idea. C-E-D-E-S. It's just the name of the
Merce- Really? Same time? That's interesting. Now, we did talk about this being a car accident. There's a make and a model. What car were they driving?
Ford.
Ford. What kind of Ford?
Mustang.
Ford Mustang. Common out here in Las Vegas. And what time of day did this take place? 7 p.m. It's very specific. Very good. Now, bear in mind, these are bits of information that has come to you guys, not me. I've not met you guys beforehand. We've not rearranged or prearranged any of this. We will come back and we will explore these in further detail a little bit later on. But I want to take us back in time, about 100 years or so, to our first story that takes place here at the Artisan. The year was 1886. At that time, Las Vegas was nothing more than a stop on the rail systems. A lot of pioneers were moving through here westward bound as they were going towards California. The gold rush was in full swing. One of the families that did decide to reside in our valley was the Flynns. The Flynns had a beautiful young daughter. Her name was Anna. The youngest of the family, Anna had no desires to participate in the Flynn's family business. They were ore haulers. Instead, Anna wanted to marry and start a family. And she was deeply in love with a local miner by the name of John Smith. Now, John did love Anna, but he only loved one thing more than her: gold. John was dedicated to finding gold. And of course, we're not a gold state. Yet rumors of a gold strike in Eugene, Nevada started circulating. And John promised Anna, I will ride off to Eugene, stake my claim, and as soon as I find my gold, I will come back for you. We will be married, we will start a family, and we will live happily ever after. Sweet, isn't it? If only it was that case. John rode away. Anna invested her entire life savings in having a beautiful wedding gown crafted from the finest silks, imported from the furthest lands. And as the days turned to weeks, the weeks became months, Anna became nervous. Something was wrong. Fearing the worst, she rode to Jean herself, where she began to investigate on where John might be hiding. And that's when her worst suspicions were confirmed. She found John in the arms of a younger woman. Devastated, Anna wanted revenge. She wanted John to feel her pain, but she was too timid of a person to confront him individually. So she turned to her family's true secret of success: witchcraft. There's no record as to how her family came about this knowledge, only that she possessed it. And according to legend, she went to the nearby graveyard where she dug up a body of a miner who had recently been buried there. And from that miner, she took something very personal, a leg bone. She inscribed strange arcane symbols on this leg bone, which she used to place a curse on John Smith. A couple of days later, he would die in a cave-in as one of the mine tunnels he was working in collapsed on his head. His young girlfriend fell ill to a mysterious illness and sickness that plagued her for several weeks. She languished in bed before passing. Once her deed was done, Anna buried the evidence of her crimes in her backyard after she returned to Vegas. This bone laid dormant for many years until the 1970s. A construction agency began breaking ground, building at that time what would be a travel lodge, one of the largest in the nation. In the 2000s, that travel lodge would later be renamed the Artisan. Once the workers uncovered that bone, they began to joke and pass it around. What a strange find this was. They were unnerved by it being a human bone, but they didn't think too much of it until things started happening. Tools and keys would go missing. According to rumors, the bone itself would move. After the building was completed, the workers locked it up in a closet, never to be seen again. When I moved in here, the artisan, still in possession of it, gave it to me. Figured if anyone would know what to do with a bone that was cursed, it would be me. I figured what better way to show off a cursed item than to put it in a show. Ladies and gentlemen, they say this bone is still cursed by John Smith. Mr. Smith, if you are here by sight or sound, would you give us evidence of your presence? Would you let us know that you are still here? Mr. Smith, are you angry that Anna placed a curse on you? Goodness. I'll take that as a yes. Would you? Oh, you are brave. I don't know too many people that handle a cursed item like that.
Were you handing it to me?
Oh, yes, I was.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Oh, no, never mind. Now that I know what you're doing, no, I don't want it. But this is a cursed item. We would call this a trigger object in the field of paranormal investigation. You see, spirits, when they haunt, they attach themselves to a person, a place, or an object. Mr. Stark, if you would kindly take this out back, please. See to it that is staged. Thank you. Not all trigger objects are as obvious as a human leg bone. Sometimes they're a little bit more innocuous, such as a coin and a key. If I gave you the date of April 14th, 1912, can you tell me what happened? Very good. Sinking of the RMS Titanic. Now, what does that have to do with Las Vegas? Nothing. And everything. On the south side of the strip, there is a pyramid. The Luxor has a museum full of artifacts. The employees there swear it's haunted by the 1,503 individuals that lost their lives that night. The Luxor is not the only place to have Titanic artifacts. We here at the Artisan are blessed to have these two. Acquired from an estate auction many years ago. That key and coin belonged to passengers that were aboard the Titanic, and I assure you they have stories. We'll get to those stories in a little bit. Right now, though, you, my young friend, what is your name? Christine. You have a choice to make. You will choose to keep one of those items for yourself, and then to somebody on the other side of the room, pass off the other. Make that decision. Christine, what item did you choose to keep for yourself?
Key.
The key. Key is a symbol of knowledge, a symbol of secrets. And then you passed off the coin, which is where? Right there. The coin is a symbol of fortune, luck, silver, so purity. Photographs. People that you have never met. In just a moment, I'm going to ask the two of you to decide quickly whether you feel the person in the photograph that I displayed before you has a connection to the item that you hold in your hands. I will be working between the two of you, and I will be working rather quickly so as not to give you too much time to think about this. I ask that you just react with your gut instinct, whether you want to keep the photograph because you feel there's a connection between yourself and the artifact and the person in the photo, or to pass because there's no connection. You may keep more than one. You may pass on more than one. I just ask you to make it quickly. Do you both understand?
Yes.
Excellent. Young lady with the key, we'll start off with you ladies first. Is this a keep or a pass?
Pass.
This is a pass. Very well. Moving over to the coin. Is this a keep or a pass?
Keep.
That's a keep. We're going to continue on the course of the coin. Is this a keep or a pass? That's a keep as well. We're going to go back to the key. Is this a keep or a pass?
Keep.
We're keeping. Going back to the person with the coin or the key. Keep or pass?
Pass.
Pass. Very well. Serial killers are out there. And keep or pass?
Pass.
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 Passing indeed. We'll give you another one here. What you think about this one? Keep or pass?
Keep.
Keep. Now, did you keep that because I said we're going to think about that, or did you keep that because you feel there was a connection? Excellent.
Pass.
I'm going to pass on that one. Beards are not in. Keep or pass?
Keep.
Keep or pass?
Pass.
Pass. Keep or pass?
Keep.
Going to continue on this theme. Keep or pass?
Pass.
Keep or pass?
Pass.
Pass. Give you another shot at this. Keep or pass?
Pass.
Pass indeed. One more at you. Keep or pass? Keep. Keep or pass?
Pass.
Pass. Keep or pass?
Keep.
Keep or pass?
Pass.
Keep or pass?
Pass.
Pass. Keep or pass? Keep. Keep or pass?
Pass.
Keep or pass?
Pass.
Keep or pass? Keep. Keep or pass?
Keep.
Keep or pass?
Pass.
Keep or pass?
Keep.
Keep or pass?
Pass.
So far, you folks know nothing about the people that you've been looking at, only that these individuals you felt were connected to these items in some way, shape, or form. These were all passengers that were aboard the Titanic. They would have been in proximity of these items at one point. They all have stories. This is Miss Irene Corbera. She was 30. Her ticket number was 237249. Irene's parents had received a letter from her on April 15th, which she said she was taking passage on the RMS Titanic. Irene boarded the Titanic in Southampton. She died. This Ethel Fortune, 28. Ethel almost never made it off the Titanic. Initially, she thought she was getting to a lifeboat was a waste of time. So she let her two sisters on deck, or she left her two sisters on deck to return to the comforts of her cabin. She was later convinced by a steward to return to the lifeboats, where she ultimately survived. And thus the stories go, having either lived or died, as the case were. But they were not the only ones to have stories. The artifacts themselves have stories. Have you ever heard the phrase, find a coin, pick it up, all day long you'll have what?
Good luck.
Good luck. What a strange concept. We humans associate cosmic, fortune, destiny-altering powers with inanimate objects. And we do it with these. Certainly the person that possessed this coin thought that this was a lucky coin because she survived the Titanic. This was actually passed down through generation to generation before it found its way in my collection. Every owner, a survivor in their own way, in their own sort. And how strange is it that you tonight, sir, were just looking at the photographs and knowing nothing about the passengers, somehow were able to pick up on that? Because every person that you chose to associate with this coin this evening also survived the Titanic. Curious. Wish all stories could have a happy ending. This key belonged to somebody in third class. This was more than likely the key that went to their jewelry cabinet, being a barrel key. Probably the most expensive things that this person owned was locked in that cabinet. They didn't survive. This key's owner probably drowned that evening, more than likely drowned that evening. You have no knowledge of their identity or who they were. I don't know if you want to rationalize this experience as something that is explainable in coincidence. Or perhaps this experience is something a little darker. Maybe the veil between the living and the dead is just thin enough to see that here at the Artisan, you were able to reach through the veil and pick up on their vibrations. However you want to rationalize it, I think it's weird that you chose to pick up on their despair, their anxiety, their fear, and their final surrender to the void. Because every person you associate with that key this evening also gave up their lives that horribly. Haven't died. Mr. Stark, if you would, kindly take these passengers and allow them to have some rest. Thank you. We can't really talk about the spirits of Las Vegas and not bring up our next celebrity ghost. It's one of my favorite stories. It takes place in the late 1960s. The year was 1967, and this individual was on a manic buying spree, spending money left, right, and center in town. His name was Howard Hughes, eccentric billionaire. One of my favorite stories of Mr. Hughes deals with the Desert Inn. You see, he was staying at the Desert Inn when they phoned his room. They said, "Mr. Hughes, we've sold the property, or excuse me, we have rented out your room to the next client, and you have reached the end of your stay. You need to leave." Mr. Hughes hung the phone up. He stormed down in the lobby. He said, "Do you not know who I am?" They said, "Yeah, you're Mr. Hughes, but you also need to check out." He said, "No." He pulls out his checkbook. He writes a check with several zeros on it, rips it out, hands it to the manager present, and says, "I'm your new owner. Cancel the reservations. I will not be leaving my room. And in fact, while we're at it, I no longer need your services. Do not clean my room. Do not restock my linens. I prefer my privacy. Thank you." He goes up the elevator. That was the last they saw him for about a week and a half. It wasn't too long, though, because not all the employees got the memo. There was a young new hire that was working at the property at that time. She made the mistake of cleaning his room, restocked his linens, refreshed his soap and shampoo. Upon realizing that his privacy had been invaded, Mr. Hughes stormed down into the lobby where, according to legend, he threw a tantrum in front of all the people present. In this tantrum, he grabbed a wine glass out of somebody's hand and smashed it up against the wall, threatening the management within an inch of their careers that if anyone ever cleaned his room again, he would fire the entire staff. He storms back to the elevator, ascends back to his suite, and he spent the rest of his days there. after he died, it took them several weeks to build up the nerve to go into that room again. And when they did, they were shocked. Against the back wall, they found mason jars piled from floor to ceiling, filled with human excrement, urine. Mr. Hughes was a germaphobe, scared to use the toilet. Shortly after they cleaned his room out, weird things began happening at the Desert Inn. In the kitchen, the wine glasses would shadow themselves. Sometimes the servers would report wine glasses and other glassware being flung at them by spectral forces in sight unseen. Once they tore the Desert Inn down, they thought the spectral activity would come to an end. They were wrong. They built the Encore where the Desert Inn stands. Even to this day, the Encore has an uncanny high overhead for broken glassware. I was at the Encore earlier today, actually, having lunch. It's where I acquired this wine glass. Please don't tell them I have it. But I figured if we're going to do a show tonight with spirits and tell ghost stories about Las Vegas, we should probably include one of the most infamous ghosts of all out here, Mr. Hughes. So I figured, why not invite Mr. Hughes to visit us tonight and see if he would demonstrate his wrath by taking his frustrations out on this wine glass. So Mr. Hughes, if you are present, would you go ahead and show us your anger? Hang on. He was a germaphobe. Mr. Hughes, please demonstrate your wrath. Show us how angry you are at what they did to your room. Come on, man! Alcohol. Maybe I went too far. Come on, Mr. Hughes, I have cleaned. Hang on, you're the splash zone. I've cleaned the glass. I have left my germs behind. I've cleaned it with alcohol. Surely now you are pleased. Demonstrate your wrath on us this evening. Show us how angry you can be. Prove to us the legend is true. Shatter the wine glass. Such is the problem when your co-workers are not on payroll. Spirits are notoriously difficult to work with. Doesn't surprise me. I'll tell you what, Mr. Hughes, I'm just going to leave that wine glass right there. Whenever you feel like making your presence known, have that. We're going to continue moving on. I want to take it back to the Artisan. We've gotten a little bit further away from where we are. I want to take it back to 1988. At this time, we were still a travel lodge. The rumors of the car accident was still fresh on everyone's minds, as was the hauntings resulting there afterwards. It was sort of hushed around, passed around amongst people that stayed here, but they talked about the presence of a couple entities in the lobby. In 1988, they held a seance here, attempting to make contact with the spirits that resided at the Artisan. In fact, the seance was held in this very room. One of the spirits that they were interested in contacting was a bellhop. The bellhop story was overshadowed by the accident. He was working here the night the car came crashing through the front lobby, and he was injured in that accident. He was rushed to nearby Sunrise Hospital, where he languished for a couple of weeks before he eventually passed. After he died, the couple receiving more credit than he did, people began seeing a bellhop in the halls out here, walking down the hallways, following them to their rooms even. When they would turn around to greet the bellhop, of course, no one would be standing there. So in the seance of 1988, the psychic medium Madam Sybil attempted to contact the bellhop. This is one of the bells that she used. She rationalized the spirit would be familiar with the ringing of a bell, and that this might be something that would comfort the spirit, perhaps draw the spirit out. According to those present, not only was the spirits drawn out that evening, the bell would not stop ringing. Sybil donated the bell to the Artisan, or Travel Lodge at that time, and it stayed on the front desk for a couple weeks until the staff got too frightened of it, ringing at 3 a.m. in the night by itself. So they boxed it up alongside a certain bone, shoved it in a closet on the second floor, and eventually it was passed on to me. Can you imagine for a second what it would have been like to be there for that seance? Can you imagine Madam Sybil asking us to join hands to concentrate, to focus, and allow yourselves to open up to the possibility that spirits are here? And I can almost hear her saying, spirits, by sight or sound, if you are here tonight, let us know. Sorry, did that just ring? That was weird. Spirits, if you are here tonight by sight or sound, let us know. Interesting. Are you male? Ring the bell if you are male. Stay silent if you are not. Are you female? Ring the bell if you are female. Interesting. They can clearly hear us. Spirits, can you see us? Ring the bell if you can see us in this room tonight. Spirit, there are 10 people in this room. Please ring the bell for yes. Let's try something. Young lady, with your right hand, choose a number 1 to 5 and hold it up high. Hold it up high. Spirits, how many fingers do you see? Spirits, how old are you? You're between 10 and 15 years of age. Ring the bell for yes. If you are between 15 and 20, ring the bell for yes. 20 and 25, ring the bell for yes. Spirits, are you still here? Okay, so I have not got to your age yet. Are you older than 25? Are you older than 30? Okay. Are you older than 35? Are you older than 40? Are you older than 45? Are you older than 40? Are you 41? Spirits, did you try to make communication with one of us this evening? Did you speak to somebody in the front row? Is your name Jane? Spirits, we may be friends and part in peace. Would you let us know, please, by sight and sound? Thank you. You can see why this thing was quite the thing in 1988. That would even give me nightmares, I'm sure. But how interesting if you have a friend. Some trigger objects, like keys and bells should be handled lightly. Some sugar objects shouldn't be handled at all. This next item was found here at the Artisan a couple months ago. I'm sure you can imagine a place like this draws in some questionable clientele from time to time. This box was discovered inside the Artisan, the Leonardo da Vinci room, 3rd floor. The maid that cleaned the room was only supposed to restock the linens and the soap. The person that checked in was not due to check out for another couple of days. This happened on a Friday. And when she went in there, she found the room vacated. No personal belongings remained with the exception of that box, which was laid open on the table. The maid described a chaotic scene of salt being poured all over the box, a smell of burnt incense of some sorts in the room. Given the contents that was described to me, I imagine it was probably sage. The room itself was tossed, as if somebody threw a huge party and then left. Items like this don't surprise me. They have been made quite popular in modern culture. Movies like The Possession have made them notorious. Ghost hunting TV shows have made them famous. Boxes like this are called a Dybbuk box. A Dybbuk is an angry spirit confined within a box using Jewish Kabbalistic rituals. The box is weaponized like a spiritual hand grenade, given to somebody you do not like, and once opened, the spirits inside attach to that individual's soul and wreaks havoc in their lives. Normally, I would not advocate you doing what we are going to do tonight. But since the box was already open, the spirit's already attached. Thankfully, not to us. So this gives us a lovely opportunity to experiment with some darker forces that we should not normally play with. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Dybbuk box. Inside the box, you usually find a weird assortment of items. In this case, we have a burnt piece of rope that has been knotted and tied around a stick, more than likely in some kind of a binding ritual. We have a piece of bone. Looks like it came from some kind of skull. I hope it's not human. We have a lock of human hair bound by wax. I know you can't see it well, but that is the symbol of a dragon on that wax, which is, according to Christian mythology, the symbol of the devil himself. We have a small bird's skull, a pebble, probably had some significance to the Dybbuk herself. And I do say herself, I'm quite sure the Dybbuk is female, as they were kind enough to leave me a photo behind me. I've named her Emily. I have no idea if that's her real name or not. I just find if you name things, it makes them less scary. And I personally placed some envelopes in the box to allow us to do what we are about ready to do tonight. And that is, of course, play with the Dybbuk. Now, I do need a brave soul willing to come up on stage. Somebody that would like to participate. Oh, we have an offering. We have a human offering already. Young lady, come on over here. What is your name, my dear?
Charlotte.
What is it?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Charlotte joining on stage. Charlotte, I have some pieces of cardboard here for you and a pen. Now, Dybbuks feed on negative energy. They feed on anger. They feed on fear. So what I would like you to do is write down the name of somebody that you legitimately don't like. This could be a teacher in school that gave you way too much homework. This could be an ex-lover that was really fast. Good Lord, okay. Go ahead if you would. Just go ahead and seal that inside that envelope. Place the envelope on the table. We're going to do this 5 more times. But this time, I don't want somebody that you dislike. This time, I want somebody that you like. Somebody that you admire or that you love. This could be family members. This could be a significant other. This could be a member of the community that you look up to. But please write down the name of 5 individual people, 1 per card, that you look up to and that you respect. And we'll just go ahead and put those back into the envelopes as you go down the line.
Each individual envelope or all?
Yeah, one per envelope. I find that it's often harder for people to write down the names of 5 people they like than one person they don't like. I do ask that all these individuals please make sure that they are real individuals. These are not made up or imaginary names. Trust me, the Dybbuk will know. A little bad-natured fun. Don't worry, this is not the first unholy thing we've done in this room. One more. Once you've completed that task, I will take that pen back from you. Go ahead and pick up the envelopes. Give them a good solid mix, if you will. Thank you. Make sure that even you do not know the order that they are in. And once you are satisfied that the envelopes are mixed, one by one, I want you to place them into the front of the box. Make sure, though, that you do not touch the box itself or the chains that hold it open. I would hate for there to be a mishap.
Is it okay if it accidentally touches the envelope so it's not my skin?
Do not touch anything against the box or the chains. Very good. Good job. I'm going to ask you a question. Did you touch the box? Did you touch the chains? So that thing slammed shut on its own power. Emily is looking at one envelope. And you did write down the name of somebody you did not like, correct? How strange would it be if the one that Emily slammed the lid shut on and was staring at was the name that you did not like? Would it be weird? I don't want to out you in case that person is in the room. She's dead? Is her name Cheryl? Thank you. Let me help you down those stairs. Can we save her after the show, please? I don't want anything attaching to her. Mr. Stark, would you please come forward? And would you please take the Dybbuk box out back and sage the hell out of that?
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
Thank you. Curious. Absolutely curious. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight at the start of the show, I had you reach out and make some contact with some of the energy that is in the room. And some of you automatic wrote for me, some of you pendulum dials for me. And of course, I had a prediction, a piece of paper that was placed inside the box before that I told you we would come back to and examine a little bit later on. At this point in time, this box has been in view the entire time. Nobody has seen this box move. Nobody has messed with this box. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes? Very good. And where's my key master? Nobody has touched that key the entire time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Go ahead and join me on stage if you would. And I have a microphone right here for you. Inside this piece of this envelope is 2 pieces of paper. That bottom one is what I left in there, or the top one is what I left in there for you before. That's what you wrote. Go ahead and take that out. Would you go ahead and open that paper and look at your automatic writing for the first time? What do you see?
Jane.
Jane? Is there a number?
41.
What What did you write down? 41? Jaden, 41? Sir? Go ahead and hold that up so everyone in the audience can see. And sir, you said Jaden 41 is what spoke to you, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
There is one more piece of paper inside that envelope. Young lady, would you pull that piece of paper out of that envelope? Open it up. This is a newspaper article I found online and printed out. I shoved it in there before the show started. Would you go ahead and read out loud what that says? Car wreck kills newlyweds. Go on.
Clark County authorities say they received a report of a fatal auto wreck last Monday at 7 p.m. in the 5100 block of West Sahara Avenue. John Peterson, 24, and his new bride, Mercedes Peterson, 21, of Provo, Utah, were both pronounced dead on the scene. They were decapitated, sorry. When a Ford Mustang heading northbound on the Southwest Wood Drive, driven by a 67-year-old Harold Smith of Henderson, Nevada, careened off the roadway and landed in the lobby of the Travelodge Hotel.
John, Mercedes, Ford Mustang, 7 p.m. Thank you very much, sweetheart. Tonight you guys have heard real ghost stories, urban legends, and cautionary tales. In our time together this evening, I feel we have probably stumbled a little further into the gray than where I would like. Therefore, I would like to leave you with one last thought. And I hope that this last thought is something that will lighten your hearts. Life is a mystery. Life is a lot like this thread. It has a beginning, and it has an end. And somewhere along that way, along that journey, there are many wonderful things for us to enjoy. There will be happiness, but there will be sorrow. There will be love. There will be loss. There will be friendships and betrayal. There will be people that will come into our lives, and like actors in a play, they'll leave. Life can leave you feeling broken and disconnected. But life can also restore us if we allow it. It's all a matter of perspective. It's a matter of finding the balance between the forces of darkness and the forces of light as they work in our lives, and finding unity and strength to push through the darkest of nights to the next beautiful dawning of the new day. Life is not about how it begins or ultimately how it ends. Life is about the journey we take in between. Goodness. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Brady.